Hey guys, it's Rob here. Welcome to another Bowfa first cape example. Just wanted to do another one for you guys. So for the people that don't want to do mage tank, this method is basically just the normal method, and we'll basically be doing normal things. These three pre-pots in the corner are going to be replaced with super restore, and our setup here plus about 200 mil in total, so nothing too crazy. You do see we have the Dragon Hunter wand that's going to help us a lot for healing and the waves, and you see we are auto-casting Blood Barrage, unlike a lot of my previous videos. So without further ado, let's get right into it. And by the way, make sure you subscribe because we're reaching 3,000 pretty soon, which is freaking crazy. So make sure you hit the button and hope you enjoy. So as you can see, we are in the Inferno. We're going to drop a potion just in case we want to equip our blowpipe. And you'll see at the beginning of every wave, we're going to do one Ice Barrage manual cast on the nibblers. So we're going to start every wave. And we don't really have to equip, just by the way, in case you didn't know, these bats are 3 ticks, so they attack every 3 game ticks with range. So that's why we're keeping prey range on to begin with. Every wave we're going to get ready to Ice Barrage. The nibbler tile that's marked is the center tile of the 3x3 in which the nibblers can spawn. So very good thing to know. So they might not spawn on this exact tile, but it's good to hover that tile just in case they do. Same with the 6 nibbler wave. This is a 6 nibbler wave. So again, we just want to Ice Barrage, and you see if we Ice Barrage instantly, we can also freeze that before it even gets to the pillar. So very nice on doing that. I just wanted to say, very happy to be recording another video like this. I like bringing a budget setup again because it just goes to show that you don't need fancy stuff. Here, we're going to try to play very, very simple around the blobs. This isn't by any means a mage tank method, but we are going to be tanking some blobs when it's beneficial for us. Here, we started pre-anglered, so we're starting above full health already. Gives us a little bit of leeway to just do that with the blob, but here we're going to learn to lazy flick the blob. This is going to be the difference between this and the mage tank method, essentially. So here we're going to very cleanly clean these up. And always return to the start tile. Always make sure you have the right prayer on, which in this case, you can just put pray range on. Or pray mage. I don't know. Pray range protects you against the bat at least, so while you're cleaning up the nibblers here, it is good to clean up the nibblers, by the way. You should keep in mind we have blowpipe spec to heal up as well, so you can blowpipe spec. And this blob, we can kill it on the bat tile. So both of these bat tiles are the optimal tiles to kill the blobs on the west and south side of the pillar, respectively. If you're standing back 3 tiles from the bat tile, a little bit of information overload, but this is very important. You can do a Phantom Barrage by manual casting or autocast, or autocast or manual cast, doesn't matter. Your last cast has to be in manual cast. Wow, words are hard. Alright. So anyway, lost a tick dragging that, but who cares? You're gonna get back to Ice Barraging here. And try our best to clean up these nibblers. We have a lot of bruises in case we need them, but to start with, we can just kind of tank a little bit of blob hits. Here, a little trick you can do. I don't want to get too advanced, but there's just a little trick you can do. You can pray mage, step out, pray range. What that does is makes the blob range you, and it drags this bat in. You know, I'm not trying to get too crazy here. Like, you know, don't get me wrong, but... And here again, like I was saying, with the blob south, we're gonna kill it on the bat safe spot. And you see I'm just lazily flicking the blob. I kind of have a habit of just manual casting Blood Barrage every time, but it's okay if you just auto cast it the first time and just manual cast the last cast. This doesn't really matter at the end of the day. And as you can see, healing up on a learner cape does take a bit of time. If you do take the mage legs, if you have the space for it, if you're just starting out, the mage legs probably are worth the inventory slot. Let's see if we can get a phantom, but no avail. So this is double blob, so we're going to be a little careful. Biggest thing is we don't want to panic off a spawn because we're not going to die from like a blob hitting us 1 time or 2 times or something. but we will die from panicking, so here we're simply going to turn on the corner, change our prayer. And we have our blood barrage on autocast, so we just clean these up with blood barrage, so nice and easy here. And of course, again, very important to do this early, or to learn this early, I would say. But killing this blob in the right spot so we can phantom barrage it, and also flicking against it, which I did not do, but it's okay. So yeah, it's a wave where you just don't want to make any big blunders. You'll be good. Next come the melee waves. This is another 6 nibbler wave. It comes after 2 of the same monsters. So see there we had 2 blobs. So after any 2 of the same monster only, that's going to be a 6 nibbler wave. The last one being right before the mage comes out for the first time. You'll see here we're just using these final nibblers in the 6 nibbler wave to heal back up. And we're going to, again, ice barrage again. Always want to ice barrage first because keeping the hillers healthy? I don't know. But yeah, you know what I mean. Important. Very good. As you can see, Crystal Shield not really too useful as of yet. It's going to come much more into play in the later waves. Don't get me wrong, this Crystal Shield is actually OP. It's just we're not at the point of the run yet where it's very useful, so we're just keeping it chilling there in the inventory. It's going to be ready for us when we need it, so that's good. And as you can see, we are simply killing stuff. This nibbler we technically want to kill, but it's a little annoying if the melee digs, so we're just going to kill it first. Doesn't really make a difference what you do there. You want to pray melee, tank the melee. Works just as well. And one common thing you're going to see me do, like the very basics of what I do here, is I'm looking for which side of the pillar is the safest. And even though I'm melee, you might not think that's a safe thing, but when it's the only thing on the north side of the pillar, that makes it safe. You got to think of it like safety is relative in the Inferno, I would say. Now, we do have a prayer regeneration. Let me make sure the plugin's on, actually. I think it might not be on. Okay, we got the cheeky blood barrage off, not what we needed to do, but... Okay, well, the message is up. That's not meant to be, but whatever. Here, we're just gonna... If the blob's in this position, we go into the corner here. You know what? The plugin's telling me I need to, so I'm just gonna do it. As you can see, trying not to flick too much. Obviously, lazy flicking the blobs is a good way to prevent damage, so here we're going to lazy flick the blob. Going to try to get another cast off on the nibbler while we're switching our prayer. Then we switch to melee prayer. Now, if you don't flick against the blob perfectly there, that's absolutely okay. You're going to just come north of the pillar, pray melee, and you'll be fine against this. So, really, it's not about executing it perfectly, it's just about doing good enough that at the end of the wave you can heal off of the mini blobs here. Always phantom barrage from the phantom barrage spot in the back here. You have to go all the way back for this spot, so for this spot all the way back. First cast doesn't have to be manual, so you can just click on the blob, but the second cast, whichever cast kills the ranged bloblet basically. You can also use the Bowfa to finish off some stuff here if you want. It's kind of up to you. About the same speed as a blowpipe, so it doesn't really matter, but obviously Bowfa comes into play a lot more later on, as you could imagine. Here we'll flick against the blob, you know, we may as well flick against the blob. And should be noted, this is a very minor detail, but in our blowpipe we do have amethyst darts, so we're not really doing anything crazy. This is like pretty much a 200 mil budget setup with like amethyst darts, so they're pretty cheap. Here we're just going to pray range against the bat as we turn the corner. You can do this little trick here. I like doing this little trick. It's not something you have to do, but it is kind of cool. So step out here. You have to be standing back enough so that the bat hits you on the second tick. It's a pretty cool little trick. Might save you a little bit of health and some time healing, so that's nice. But again, I'm now advocating for a slightly different thing than in my videos of the past, which was always autocast ice barrage, but now I'm pretty much usually advocating for autocast Blood Barrage. It's pretty much what you're going to want as a learner realistically. Ice Barrage autocast is kind of a little too idealistic in my opinion. Here, this is a little bit of like specific knowledge that you might need to know. So here, if you're just standing like this, the blob's hitting you, you don't know what to do, you can stand here, pray melee. Now only the melee can see us here. It's like a little bit advanced, but it's a really good thing to know. So here we're just very easily killing the melee. The melee has a very long death animation. So once the melee starts dying, we put on either prayer, it doesn't matter which one. We're going to switch our prayer to pray against the blob. We're going to switch our prayer to pray against the blob. Words are hard. Here we're simply blood barraging some of our health back. We're going to kill this blob on the bat safe spot again, and again we're going to have to step back 3 tiles from this bat safe spot, so pray range for the blob that's going to be in front. We can autocast because we know that's a small hit, it's not going to kill anything. And you see I manual cast the last one, so I make sure I get the Phantom Barrage, make sure we're full health. Not that it really matters going into the next wave, but of course you have brews if you need them, so use those as you need. Definitely use your brews. I always say to my learners in hard mode Tab, use your brews early, brew early always. And that same goes for Inferno, especially on waves like 14 and 15. Even though I kind of did it pretty simply, it could end up being pretty hard, so make sure you use your brews if you have to. Don't be afraid to. Supplies are there for a reason, my friend. And here I'm just stopping the melees from digging. I know it looks kind of funny. It kind of is kind of funny. I'm just making sure they don't dig because that's pretty annoying. And as you can see, our inventory, very bare bones, is like a very simple basic inventory. Here you can actually Phantom Barrage the nibblers if they go the other way. So there we just got a clean kill on those. Now wave 18 is where the ranger starts. These waves aren't very challenging until it's ranger plus blob, then obviously it gets a little more complicated. Always make sure you're drinking water. It is the Inferno. It's also summer where I am, so definitely make sure to be drinking water. Unless you're in Australia, then I guess make sure you're warm, you know, or something, I don't know. Even get that cold in the winter there? I don't know. Why am I always talking about Australia, bro? I'm always bringing up Australia in these videos, bro. Whatever. Yo, shout out Australia. So as you can see, a bunch of easy waves here. Real challenge is when the ranger and the blob comes, then one tick alternate can come into play. I'm gonna try to show that off the best I can. Although it is pretty hard to explain it in just one short moment, but you know, we will do our best. That was a moment we could have Phantom Barrage from the start tile if we wanted to, but it wasn't necessary. We just can clean up the nibblers here like this. And when you think about it, we're approximately 1/3 of the way through the waves already. You know, not time-wise technically, but you know, we'll keep it going. I'm not really going for a speed run or anything, but it is interesting to see if I just keep going and, you know, hopefully make minimal mistakes. There is a blob on this wave, so here what we do is we notice there's no ranger hitting us. We simply pray against the blob. We can pray against the blob again, and we can simply click the ranger here. So that's the way I saw to solve the wave. Obviously, if you take a blob hit in the process, not a big deal. We have our blowpipe specs, we have our blood barrage, obviously, our healing stick, as I like to call it. But hopefully this video shows, you know, you might have seen the last 2 Inferno videos I posted and be like, damn, I guess Mage Tank is the meta now, like, screw my plan of trying to do it the right way, but you know, if you do want to do it the right way, here's a great budget setup. We got Varrock Helm, which is very cheap. We have God D'hide boots, which are our fake ranger boots. We have our healing stick, which is our dragon hunter wand. Now here, as you can see, only the ranger can hit us and the blob can't hit us from the start tile. The bat and the ranger are both range, so here we can simply clean up. There's nothing really we have to think about here. Really nice, easy wave. So you want to pay attention to what can see you, especially when it comes to blobs, because so blobs are very important to pay attention to. Also melees that spawn on, say a melee spawned where this ranger is. That'd be a bit of a situation where you want to be a little careful. You'd have to plan how you want to deal with the melee there. If it's the only thing north, you can just pray against it, obviously. We need to sip a prayer regen. I hope everyone's doing good, though. I've been doing a little bit better than I have been, so cannot complain. So here, we're going to play it very simply. We're not going to panic here. We are going to take a blob hit or two. Here, we're actually going to go around the corner. We need to drag that ranger in a little more, so we're going to take even another blob hit or two. I think here we can step behind the pillar, so there we're just in time to step behind the pillar. We're actually just going to brew up here. One thing that's kind of a misconception is thinking that brewing here is wasting your supplies. You might think, yes, I can heal up with my Dragon Hunter wand. That is true. You're right. But the only thing is that if I heal up with my Dragon Hunter wand, that wastes a lot of time. Don't want to waste a lot of time. So we're going to do our little trick here, you know? We like doing this. This is pretty cool. I just patented it. I just, like, made this up right now on the spot, kind of. Not, like, technically, I mean, but yeah, I guess that's cool. So yeah, I mean, I could have spent more time blood barraging. We're going to try to minimize that for the sake of the video. We can keep it uncut and just keep it pretty quick. So when I need to brew, I'm going to brew. What I was going to say, though, is that my defense being boosted is not a bad thing here, so here, this is a bit bad. We actually have two blobs on us, so here we're going to want to one-tick alternate. This is like a definitely one-tick alternate angle. Importantly, you want to make sure you line it up with the big monster. You see how I have the blob completely off my screen? I don't even really know when it's attacking. I'm just praying range, mage, starting on the ranger's attack cycle. So range, mage. And if I kill it, I can just keep doing this and I'm still safe. That's good to know. So, you know, obviously if you miss a hit or whatever, that's fine. Or I mean, you know, miss a prayer. Like that. I just missed a prayer. Of course, obviously, Confliction Gauntlets are a bit of an upgrade for Mage over the Occult Necklace. We're just taking a very budget basic setup that just takes a very simple setup into account and stuff. And words. Also words. Here we can pray Mage just to block the Mage's attack. Gonna turn pray range back on because it's still the range waves. 24 is a double blob wave. That is one you technically want to be a little careful of. Now here, should be noted that the melee can be trapped on the south side of the pillar here from either direction. So if it was on the east side of me, it would also get trapped here. This is very useful to know. And this is the last tile down. If I move one more tile down, it'll untrap it and it'll hit me in 11. So I don't want to do that. And then a 19. So as you can see, if we need health back, we just switch into our mage gear, and this Dragon Hunter wand, along with the Aram's top, actually make a big difference, makes our healing very quick. So although I said I want to minimize our amount of blood barraging, I will do it when it's necessary, when I make a silly mistake, so nothing wrong with that. Sometimes here, if you wait a little bit, I just kind of had like a natural instinct to kind of wait there. Kind of ended up in our favor. Here, as you can see, the melee is trapped, so there's nothing to worry about here. One thing I didn't mention is the melee digs when we're on this spot, the bat safe spot, we can just simply move diagonal like this. If he digs to us on the 1 to 49 start tile, we can simply move to the 50 plus start tile. So I'm going to show that right now. So this melee is probably going to dig soon, so sometimes you might panic. If you're on the start tile, you can just go to the other start tile. Link to the tile markers is in the description, by the way, if you were wondering. I have some pretty clean tile markers in my opinion, you know, try not to overdo it too much. Pretty simple labels. And the start tiles for Jad and triples are right over here in red, so that's good to have for later. I haven't done a Bowfa cape in a while. This feels pretty weird. I mean, then again, I haven't even used the Bowfa as of yet, so... Oh, did I ever say that our defense is boosted from the brew that we used and that's why it wasn't a waste? I don't know, but that was my point before. Anyways, we can move to the south of the pillar to trap the melee here, so same solution as the other wave. Just kill the melee here. See, the main hard thing that can happen is like a ranger and a blob seeing you at the same time, and then you'd want to do the 1-tick alternate thing. Easier said than done, yes, but practice that a little bit. Make sure you get the tick timing down, and should be well on your way to dealing with ranger and blob or mage and blob. Really just a matter of knowing the timing of the attack cycle of the range and the attack cycle of the mage. And then just doing the 1-tick alternate over that. So as you can see, we have 116 defense, which is nice going into the harder waves such as 28 through 31. So it's going to be nice to have this defense boost. So you might think, oh, I wasted 3 doses of brew, but you know, you probably might have used them as well. You probably should have used them as well, to be honest, you know, and then you also get that defense boost, so it never hurts. Sometimes you can save a little bit of brew. Here I'm not even going to pray against the blob. That was a little bit of a trick, actually. We basically moved out of its range and then moved out of its range again. So definitely a little bit of tricks going on there, but obviously if you get hit, not the end of the world. I just noticed I can hit the ranger here, so why not? This melee is probably going to dig at the worst possible timing. Yeah, that's kind of what I figured. How did I know that was going to happen? Listen, I don't know. Sometimes you just get a feeling for those things. Old school bond bot. Bonds are on the low. Buy bonds. You heard it here first. Anyway, we're going to lazy flick this blob here. We're going to move back to this tile to Phantom Barrage, even though we're full health and there's absolutely no need. I believe that bond was for 11.4 mil or so. So bonds are pretty cheap right now. If you were interested in that, I just wanted to put that out there. If you're watching at this point in the video, I think you deserve that at least. So there you go. Got slapped by a blob there. It could hit me another 29 here. That would be unfortunate. Here, we want to let the range drag in so we can deal with it. I don't know how to flick against the blob, so I'm not going to do that. It seems a little too difficult for me right now, so instead we're just going to put... This is actually a rare situation where we're going to put on rigor. Very rare situation. Only a situation we're going to do this in is waves like 29, 30, 31. Just allows us... And you see we turn it off right away after. It's very important. You don't want to be camping rigor. Rigor uses a lot more prayer than just an overhead. Overhead prayers barely use any prayer. That's why you're seeing... There's basically no time in this video where I'm going to turn off my overhead for no reason. Pretty much always stays up, so... Good idea to make sure you're just keeping an overhead up mostly at all times. Here we're just going to very simply flick our prayer. Flick our prayer again. We're going to prayer regen while this is dying. Run back. Our first hit can be just a regular cast. Second one has to be a manual cast for the Phantom Barrage. Switch to Mage Pray just to save a little bit of HP. Because it is some pretty hard waves coming up, so we do want to take them semi-seriously. Now, a very easy solution here, when you see a situation like this with only like one thing north, the way you can think of this is this bat is easy to kill. It's just on its own. Technically, we could kill the range, yes. I'm just going to simply wait for the melee to dig, so we're just going to take a second, wait for the melee to dig. Kind of gather our thoughts here for a second. Take a sip of water. So this just simply simplifies the wave. So now we're down to just Ranger, Bat, and Blob. A little trick you should know, although it's not like super important by any means, but it is a cool trick again, is if you move to this tile, so this is a 1-tile gap between you and the ranger, he can't melee you from here, but you can actually hit things behind the ranger from this tile if they're flush against the ranger. So there's a cool little trick you can use. So 1-tile gap from the ranger basically acts as a bat safe spot. Same thing with the blob too, but you know, it's getting a little advanced having to flick a blob. It's very difficult. I don't do 1-tick alternating unless I gotta do 1-tick alternating, dude. Screw that. I'm here being lazy. I said it. Lazy but effective, that's the goal. So here we're just gonna simply flick our prayer against the blob. It's a good habit to just always go to the Phantom Barrage spot when the blobs are on this spot or the other Phantom Barrage spot. Even if you don't need the HP, it still prevents you from taking a lot of the damage that you would take. See here, we're just avoiding all the damage. We're putting the right prayer back on. This is 31, so a little bit scary. So you should know if you go into this corner, we actually froze the meleeer there, funny enough. You know, listen, if it works, it works. Alternatively, if you stand here, if you just stand still, the meleeer would be off-tick with the ranger in the spot, so that's another way you could solve this. Now, we do have a blob and a ranger to deal with. We kind of have to. There's not really another way around it. So what we're going to do is we're going to simply step out here, and we have to look at the ranger. This is a confusing thing, so don't be too thrown off by the blob. Try to look at the ranger here. You might take a blob hit or two setting it up, but as long as you set it up right, you're good. Also, keep in mind you're going to kill the blob eventually, as you see, so try not to freak out too much. Chilling. Here we just can flick against a blob. You know, 1 blob, I can flick against that. You know, that's reasonable. You can put your rigor on just for blowpipe effects, things like that if you want to. It's just a little min-max thing, but you know, don't go crazy doing crazy stuff. For your first Infernal cape, you want to keep it as simple as possible, okay? At all times, we're keeping it as simple as possible. Here, we're just going to clear off the pillar. It's pretty important, and there's no hard waves coming up, so now we can just pray mage. We know the blob's going to attack us soon. Pray range again. Hit the blob. And once again, we're going to go for the Phantom Barrage, even though this isn't going into a hard wave or anything, but see, I pray against the mage bloblet. Just want to make sure I don't take extra damage. It's good to just be 99 going into the next wave every time if you can. So always play it safe. You probably never regret playing it safe. Here, we just did that tech again where we waited a second and we got to freeze all 3 of them. 1 remains unfrozen, so we will have to attend to these 2. Here I'm just clearing up whatever was kind of near me. It's just melees and a ranger on this one, so it's nothing too crazy. You should know that if neither melee attacked you, they're gonna dig at the exact same time and guaranteed, so that's maybe a good thing to know. Here, very simply, this isn't a melee safe spot, but it's just separating the melee from the ranger. That's basically the idea here. So nothing crazy going on here. We're simply isolating one monster from another, which is pretty much the core of the early waves of the Inferno. That, and then also like occasionally 1-tick alternating is very important to know. So make sure you know 1-tick alternating hopefully before you start learning the Inferno, like for real. But you know, if you're learning it already, then learn 1-tick alternate, just saying. So 33, we got a couple easy waves coming up. The 6 Nibbler wave is upon us after the next wave. Always want to manual cast Ice Barrage. For our second cast, it's fine to just Blood Barrage. You can always Blood Barrage to just finish up the Nibblers if you want. It's kind of fine to do. Or you can send a second Ice Barrage. It's kind of your personal preference. Not really a huge difference in that case. Here we can't use the 1 gap. Like, we can't hit this ranger because we're too far. You see the monster behind the ranger has to be exactly behind the ranger to do that trick, just for the record, to not confuse anyone. And going into the next wave, we're going into a 6 nibbler wave, so we're going back to the start tile that we always go to. We're going to get ice barrage ready, especially important on the 6 nibbler waves. So make sure you're ice barraging on these waves. Don't want to be taking extra pillar damage for no reason. It's fine to take extra pillar damage, but only if needed. Definitely want to pray mage going into these waves, because as you can see, the mage can kind of destroy you, and that is not good. So that's an example of what you don't want to do. So the mage, basically the mechanics of the mage are every 4 ticks it attacks, and if you kill something before you kill the mage, it has a 1 in 10 chance every time it attacks to, instead of attacking, respawn something. And it can only respawn each monster in the wave 1 time, max. So that's the mage. So typically we want to kill it last, or I'm sorry, first. We want to kill the mage first so we don't have to kill more stuff, sorry. We can put our crystal shield on. It actually is good starting on these waves, so we're gonna put our crystal shield on. Actually use this bat safe spot tile. Pretty obscure time to use this bat safe spot tile, but as I was saying, obviously we can kill this bat here if we want to, but we may as well just kill the mage, because why not kill the mage first when we can? So pretty much is the thought process here. After we kill the mage, we can blood barrage off of the bat. And don't forget, we can always use the bruise if we need to. We may even want to use a bruise soon, just to up our defense, so... That being said, I may actually just go for it. I'll just do it. I'm just gonna do everything right now. So we're gonna brew, restore, rare regen, because we need to do that. So we're just kind of re-upping on everything. Our defense is nice and boosted now. And then hopefully this bat will get us back to full HP from the Phantom Barrage. You can also Phantom Barrage bats from here. It's good to know as well. So here, put our Crystal Shield on. Crystal Shield is good on these waves, so we are going to be putting it on. Here we simply can just keep blood barraging these, honestly. Here, probably worth our time. We can put our Crystal Body on, like max tank gear on, basically, and then just run out here and blood barrage. Try to get some blood barraging. There we go. So we killed the Nibbler there. That's very, very good. Good to keep our pillars healthy. Some people might say, oh, it's West Pillar, who cares? But we're not even on the wave 50 plus part yet, so you know, we definitely want to stay vigilant of our pillars for sure. You only want to be careless of your pillars if you're like really sure of what you're doing. You know, then by all means do whatever you want, but I'm just trying to give you the safe way. So, you know, don't mind me. Just saying. Oh yeah, also don't have your mage top on when you're ranging the mage, maybe. It might be better to have the crystal body on, just a little hunch ahead. Can Phantom Barrage the bats from this side as well, so from the same spot we Phantom Barrage the Nibblers, we can just get the bats from here. So we'll get all the way back to 99 HP. Looks like another bond bot for around 11.4. You know, I'm just saying. This video was recorded on Sunday, so I'm just putting it out there. Bonds are low. Bonds are buying live. No way, man. Alright, so we just actually ignored that blob hit. You're going to see a lot of times on these later waves, you might be scared of the mage waves in a general sense because the mage is a kind of scary monster, has the ability to respawn. It has the highest max hit if you don't pray against it, as we saw on the very first mage wave of this video, so make sure you're praying against this thing always. That's very, very important. But as you can see, what I was trying to say is that our range defense is actually quite high in this setup, so between, you know, the Barrow's Helm, the Crystal is actually pretty good. The Barrow's Gloves themselves give some range defense, and also the Ring of Suffering as well. So we have a lot of like hidden defense kind of baked into this setup. Not to mention we're brewing up, so whenever we brew up, we're getting that boost on our defense level, which is really, really actually low-key helpful. A lot of people don't even realize the defense boost that the brew gives you, but because in a lot of cases it's not really consequential, but in the context of the Inferno, it really makes a big difference. Again, we're going to put on the Crystal Shield. Good to see the bonds coming in though, you know, that's always nice to see. Click the sub button, we're almost at 3k. I don't know why I said that again, but there you go, I said it. This is nice because the mage drags up to the side, so we can just do the mage. So again, like when we can kill the mage on its own, this is very obvious. It's like we just kill the mage solo here, and that's just killing the mage first, so that's kind of automatically a good thing. It's simplifying the waves in a very easy way. Funny, usually I write like a really long description, but I think this one I might just keep it simple. I feel like the video kind of speaks for itself. I mean, I've already done this kind of video before, so to a lot of people it could be familiar. You know, I'd like to hear like who's watching this that's actually watched. Here you can actually just pray against the blob as well. This is like the alternate way instead of doing the weird trick that I did before. You just have to drag the blob in, so make sure the blob is dragged into the pillar so that you're getting the Phantom Barrage spot that we want here. But I hope you guys are having fun trying the Inferno. This is one of my favorite pieces of content in the game, alongside hard mode top for those who know me. So definitely a big fan of the Inferno and love helping people get into the Inferno, of course. It's pretty much the whole point of these videos. Now again, we're going to make sure we put our Crystal Shield on. That's going to be good on these waves. It even helps us against the blob, so very good on that front. Here we're going to simply pray range, because we don't want the bat to hit us and the blob to hit us, so at least we're praying against one of the things. Here we're going to brew up a little bit. We're just going to pray against this blob. Hit the restore. This is going to be a 1-6 alternate angle, so we're going to pray one more time against the blob. And now we're purely going off of the major, not the blob here. So as you can see, I'm just angling my camera completely towards the major. Luckily, the bat spawns in a spot where it won't reach us, so that's obviously good. As long as we remain in this cycle, we're going to be completely safe. One little minor tip that you might notice, I don't know if you do notice, but I'm trying to click in the very middle of my prayer orbs. That makes it so I have the most possible room for error, so trying to make sure I'm clicking in a way that a misclick won't kill me. Here we're going to simply pray one more time against the blob, go around here for the bats, and again we have the blob on a, not a safe spot, but I was going to say safe spottable, but I mean Phantom Barrageable spot, so here of course we can get a Phantom Barrage off. Gonna get us very close to, if not fully, to 99 HP. You can Phantom Barrage that again if you weren't 99 HP. I'm just gonna save some runes. Again, Crystal Shield on as always. This is a double blob wave, but not the most scary one considering we have the Crystal Shield on. We can actually run out and hit this Nibbler here. We have the Crystal Shield on, so we're not very scared. And as you can see, we're in another situation where we can simply go around the corner. We have a very easy solo mage situation. So try to assess the wave you're given. A wave like 41 is a double blob wave. It's one that a lot of people see as a very difficult wave, but if you simply look at what's in front of you and look at which angles you can take the wave from, here I simply notice I can hit the major and neither of these blobs can see me. That's killing the mage first, so in general that's going to be a good thing. If you can kill a mage first without any danger, it's probably a good thing. Now if there's a melee involved, which is what we're going to start to see, then it gets a little bit more complicated, of course. Here we're going to get ready to pray against the blob, not too soon, but now. So again, we can pray against the blob. It's fine to just kill it with Bowfa there, it doesn't really make a big difference. This blob we can lazy flick as per usual, and we're about to be on our prayer regen timer, so we're gonna prayer regen again. You want to be on the correct start tile. Alright, so fun little thing we can do, if the melee gets unstuck on this wave, we can simply use the mage as a safe spot for it, so it's a little trick you can do. As you can see, the mage basically acts as a pillar. And again, you could just, I guess if the melee gets trapped on this, I guess this is fine. It's kind of fine to kill the meleeer before the mage actually, that's totally fine as well. So both melees as well as bats. So bats I would also kill before a mage if they're threatening you at all. Definitely just kill a bat, they only have 25 HP, they're pretty easy to kill in general. So if this respawns, we're just gonna have to be careful. We can again use the mage as a pillar, so that's something we can just do again. Otherwise, of course, most learners would just pull it up to the north pillar. That's like obviously the normal solution, but I'm only doing this because I know this is only mage and melee this wave, so it's nothing too dangerous, obviously. And as you can see, not doing any prayer flicking can do like flick rigor on the another bond coming in. I don't even know what price that is, but you know, we have definitely got to check our grand exchange offers after this video. That's all I'm saying, bro. So as you can see, we're just gonna make our way back to the start tile. We're kind of in Narnia just because we could on that wave, but we are gonna want to return back to the start tile. So back into the real world, out of Narnia, and freeze the nibblers. Go for this one, why not? You see, we actually have time there, so if you actually do that fast enough, you have time to not get hit by the melee. Obviously, if you take a melee hit, that's not the end of the world. Obviously, you don't love to, but if you get into this position, having taken a melee hit, you can be pretty happy with it overall. You're going to be able to heal. You have 2 blowpipe specs. We have plenty of supplies left, obviously. 7 brews is what I've gone into other videos with sometimes, so 7 brews should be plenty. Once again, if the melee digs here, we simply go to the 50+ star tile, and that traps the melee and lets us hit it, so... And apparently bonds are on sale, so yeah, just, you know, putting that out there. Bonds are on the low, my friends. Go for another barrage here. Typically you'd be a little scared to do such a thing on a wave like this, but we have the crystal shield on, etc., so it's kind of fine. Here we're just going to simply go to this spot. If the melee digs, we just do the same thing again, so a lot of these things you'll see are situations that we'll just see over and over again. It goes all the way into the 60s. These are some of these things we're going to use on like 60 to 63. So here we just kill the melee. Rule of thumb is it's always fine to kill a melee or a bat before you kill a mage, even though it can respawn, because these things are just annoying. These things are just annoying. Just kill them. If it respawns it, it only respawns it on half health, so it's not even as bad as you really might think. Here, we're just gonna back up to the bat safe spot, just in case we kill this and then the bats drag in. That way we won't need to change our prayer at all, make it a little more chill. Use Bowfa here, use a blowpipe, doesn't really matter. Here we simply needed to wait for the mage to dragon enough to be able to hit it. Now this is the start of the situations where we're gonna actually sort of need to leave the nibblers. Now we could technically go for it here, but as you can see, this is a situation where we benefit a lot from just hitting the mage. If we even want to put rigor on for a little bit here, or just simply flick it. Now actually what I'd recommend, you can try to time things here. That's not a great hit to see. Now we could have probably used our... It's okay. I'm okay with that. Okay, nice. We got those. We'll have to deal with the melee one more time. Hopefully by the time the melee digs, the mage will be dead and then we won't have to really worry about anything. Now, you know, I'm not like super happy to have used that brew, but again, our defense is boosted. These are hard waves anyway, so am I like that pressed about it? Not really. We still have 6. Need like maybe like 2 to 3 for Zuk, truthfully. And again, from this bat spot, you can move diagonal like this, so to this spot. And this is good to also trap the melee the same way. Here we're just lazily flicking the blob, and we're gonna once again go back to the Phantom Barrage spot. Could also blowpipe this here. I think it would technically be a little bit better, but no big deal. Missing the Phantom Barrage, but we're gonna be full anyway. On these waves, if you wanted, you could technically wear the crystal body. I don't think it's like super necessary yet. This is a bit of a tricky situation. Now we missed the flick against the blob there, that could hit us, but now we're just gonna flick the blob until the melee digs. We're gonna kill the melee, and then we're gonna kill the mage. There's a lot of stuff going on, but we're just gonna try not to like panic too much. We're gonna keep flicking the blob, one more flick against the blob, pray melee, pray rigor, put our spec on, spec twice. And don't worry about the blob right now, the meleeer is way more deadly. Now we simply put pray mage on and we go around the corner, so... You don't want to panic in situations like that. You just want to take it one monster at a time. The melee is much more dangerous than the blob hitting you, so try to remember that. Don't try to do some like... I see a lot of people recommending like doing the thing where you go melee, range, mage, range, melee, range, mage, range. Like, but I mean, dude, if you're a learner, like, are you going to do that in that situation? If you want to, then by all means, but yeah, it should be noted it only works half the time, just saying. Oh. Okay, that was kind of sick. I just had to do that. Sorry about that. It's kind of sick though. Wow, this plugin's really tripping me out here. It really got me there. Alright, once again, kill this in the Phantom Barrage spot. Don't want to do anything too drastic. Keeping our crystal shield on because these are the ways where we're praying. These are the waves where we're praying mage. That's, yeah, those are the words. Okay. Anyway. Whoops. Okay, we're gonna one-tick alternate based on the mage here. So when you see that flicker underneath the mage, it's a little bit hard to see with the blue box under it, but that little flicker is the attack tick. That's what we're lining up our prey mage with. And then we're gonna alternate until the melee digs. And we're gonna stand here. We're flicking the blob because we saw where the blob was in its cycle, but obviously if you miss a flick, you're probably gonna survive here. Just make sure you always pray against the mage, of course. Missing a prey against the mage is like biggest mistake you can make in the Inferno waves, so probably really hard not to do that. It's like losing your queen in chess or something, you know, you just don't want to do it. Just doing weird stuff now. I'm letting the mage revive everything. I don't know what's happening anymore. Okay, that there. Do I kill this yet? I guess I had to keep one tick alternating, but I was feeling lazy. Okay, it's fine. Just heal off everything. Not what I meant to do. Okay, it's fine. See, our armor is like way too tanky that our mistakes don't matter. That's the good thing. See, our armor's too tanky that our mistakes don't matter. Except for that one. Okay. Maybe we actually... Okay, of course it's like not gonna heal us a lot. Alright, fair enough. We take it. Alright, wave 48. Just ice barrage. You can always go to this corner trap tile. This like trap something here, but here we're just gonna go here. It's good to know this tile. This is a tile you can ice barrage the nibblers from. So here we're just simply, or not ice barrage, but any barrage. So here we're just simply cleaning up these. It's actually a niche situation where you might be wondering why I'm doing this, but it's because the melee is gonna dig and we're gonna be in a situation where the melee digs. So it's actually easier just to kill this. Because we know we can probably kill these things by the time... Whoa. Wasn't like exactly the intended way that played out in my head, but it works. The reason we kill that blob is just because it's easier to just kill it and deal with the mini blobs real quick. Only do that if you're like comfortable in doing that kind of quick, because you do have to kind of think fast. Like if you do that slowly, then you're going to be dealing with 3 mini blobs right when the melee gets on you. That being said, you do heal with blood barrage, but play it safe on your first cape, you know, trust me. That's a nice spot for the blob to be. I like that respawn, good spot. We take those, we take those. As you can see, no prayer flicking of any sort. We gotta pick up our restore on the ground at some point. I don't think it's gonna despawn or anything. I'm like pretty sure it never despawns, but it's good to remember to pick that up anyway at some point. Okay, so this melee is gonna come around, so we just have to be aware of that. Obviously, if you weren't aware of that, he might slap you here, so be careful. Haven't had this situation yet, so we can just show off like a very simple way to do this. Should I be diabolical? I'm thinking I'm going to be a little diabolical, so we can actually kill the back one first. And what this does is it lets us barrage everything. That's kind of cool. Or you can kill the front one first and be boring, but whatever, you know, up to you. You do you. Listen, I don't control you, I'm just trying to show you how to do the Infernos. Should kill this, but just in case we're playing mage, now 50 plus, we're actually not even at 50 plus, never mind. Should be noted the crystal shield gives melee defense too, so that's why I could be a little bit willing to take that risk there of taking one melee hit. Here we kind of need the mage to drag up. For simplicity's sake, we can just kill all these. It's obviously going to make the wave a little longer, but kind of just annoying to kind of just annoying regardless is the thing. It's like, whatever you do, it's going to be annoying. If you want to try to kill the mage without killing these first, you could do that, but it's going to be a little bit difficult. A little bit difficult as in significantly difficult, you know. As you can see, our prayer regen is coming to an end, so we're gonna get ready for the plugin to pop up. I want to get rid of the plugin pop up, but it is good to have that plugin just so that you remember and you don't forget, because sometimes you can forget, and then that's sad. Because then you might run out of prayer, which would not be a good time. So as you can see, there's more melees. After this mage hit, we're just going to go to this side of the pillar. We're just going to kill these one more time. So here, if you want, you can use up your specs, but it's fine to just save them for safety. It's pretty reasonable in my opinion, just to save them for the most part. Unless you really need them, of course. You're getting like hit by a melee and something else, or like a melee and a blob, or whatever kind of difficult situation on the late waves. So as you can see, the next wave is 50 plus, so we are going to be using the yellow 50 plus start tile. So yay for tile markers. See if we can grab this super restore. Make sure our crystal top is on. And as you can see, we have the very first pillar stack. On the very first possible wave, there could be a pillar stack. So simply we go to the middle of the pillar. So we start in the very middle. We're going to run out 2 tiles. The back monster is going to attack first, and the front monster will attack 1 tick later. So that's all there is for stacks. If the stack was the reverse order, it would be the same thing, but prayer is reversed. You can also 1 tick alternate this. If there's a blob involved, you can just simply do this instead. Or if you just feel more comfortable doing this, some people just feel more comfortable staying in rhythm by doing this. That's totally up to you. So, nice and easy wave, despite there being a pillar stack, so it does feel good to show off a pillar stack, coming off of those 2 Mage Tank Inferno videos I did where no pillar stacks were done properly, we'll put it that way, so it is very nice to do that again, I will not lie. So again, not putting our Mage Top on, it is with 50 plus, want to make sure we have the right prayer on. Make sure we're getting an ice barrage on these nibs, very important. Here we can simply move to this side. If you see the rangers on this side, you know that not much stuff is on the other side, so in this case we just are tanking a bat for a second. We actually don't want to kill this ranger, we're actually just letting the mage drag in, so here we're just going to kill the bat. Don't know what I took a hit to be honest, I'm actually not even sure. But regardless, it's fine. We can always heal off of that ranger at the end. NBD. So after this, we just obviously want to blood barrage this. Our autocast is on blood barrage for this exact scenario, so I'm just gonna heal up real quick. Obviously, you can feel free to use your doses of brews. It kind of is the same as the earlier waves I was saying. you're fine to use your brews, especially given the defense boost you get. So don't be afraid, don't try to conserve too hard. Here I'm just conserving a little bit because I can. It's good to conserve a little bit when you can, but especially if your defense isn't boosted, just hit a dose of brew. It's probably fine. Depending on the situation, of course, but again, make sure the right prayer's on, we're on the right start tile, we're casting a barrage. We're gonna just kill this bat. Usually if there's one thing north, we're just gonna kill the one thing that's north, regardless of the order. So, like, obviously, maybe you would want to kill the mage first, but who cares? Much more important just to get a clean solve where nothing does damage to us, of course, on our first cape. Or what, you know, is a first cape example, as some would call it. As it me? That's me, yeah. Anyway. Yeah, we should kill this mage. It's very exciting gameplay here. We are 1 hour in, 1 hour deep. Maybe 40 or so to go, you know, if my memory holds. Maybe 45, you know, we'll see. We won't push it too hard, but our defense is changing, or not changing, but, well, changing, yeah, next buff change, but it's going down. That's okay though. On these waves we're kind of fine. Obviously 60 to 63 you might want to be probably just bastioned. I mean, forget the brew at that point, just hit the bastion at wave 60. That is what these are for, by the way. So like the bottom row of potions kind of looks like they're just maybe there for aesthetic purposes only, but I assure you they will come very handy in the later waves. Here we don't have to be too crazy about flicking this blob because as you can see we're in all our tank gear. It obviously can still hit us as it just did. It still can hit us, but not very likely, so we don't have to like panic. A lot of people in this situation panic a lot. I'm trying to show you there, you don't really have to panic. So there I was simply praying mage. It's like a little bit of a, you know, mage tank-esque situation, if you will, you know. Pretty nice setup here. I really like all these weapons. I like all the default crystal. I think it looks pretty cool. I know a lot of people like the colors, but I'm a pretty big fan of the default. Just did Song of the Elves on this account, actually, pretty much to do this video, technically speaking, so... I mean, I had a different video in mind that'll probably also come out with the Bowfa here, but... this was also part of the reasoning, so... here we are. We will kill the blob first. The reason why is because if the little mini blobs do damage to us, we want to be able to just heal up, so we'll have the ranger to heal off of after. The ranger's not going to do any damage to us guaranteed, so that's the one we want to kill last, technically. No, that's not what I meant to do. Alright, we'll sip a prayer regen. Definitely want to keep doing that. You could bring in 4 prayer regens if you wanted, ditch a brew or a restore, rather. But that's kind of up to you. I personally probably wouldn't do that. I think 3 is enough. I guess we'll see at the end of this. Probably will be on my last dose by the end, but we have a whole potion left, so shouldn't panic just yet, really. Even if it runs out, I mean, we still have a lot of restores left to begin with, so nothing too worrisome here. Here we actually might want to just hit a dose of brew. I'm definitely thinking about that, and by thinking about that, I mean I'm definitely going to do it. Here we're just getting a phantom off, put our right gear on, brew once, restore once, mage pray on, ice barrage. Kind of a lot of things, but make sure you try to get all that. Here I've shown this in a lot of previous videos. If you see my previous videos, you already know what I'm about to say, but this mage is corner trapped. By moving 1 north, we're keeping it remaining corner trapped. If we move 1 back in, it re-corner traps it. This is important if, like, say there's a melee south of the pillar, we could re-corner trap the mage. If you move here, you'll uncorner trap the mage, so here if we step back into the corner, it's going to be in melee range, no good, so... Little trick for the mage there, you just want to step one tile north of the corner trap monster and it keeps it corner trapped, so... Little trick you can use on the later waves. I do find to be quite nice. We will want to save this pillar at our earliest convenience, which is after this mage, pretty much. Don't have to worry too much about the blob hitting us, because obviously we have a whole bunch of stuff we can heal off of here, so... Of course it max hits us, but... Dang man, my plugin didn't work. What a scam. Alright, so obviously Phantom Barrage here because we want to be as high as possible. And we'll even try to Phantom the Mage Blobla here. Just want to get all of our health back that we can. Hopefully 99, but we'll see. 96, good enough. Make sure we're in the right spot, right gear on, right prayer on. One Ice Barrage on the nibs, as is the tradition. This is a weird stack. Normally with stuff like this, it's you move out to the bat. If there's a blob in front or a bat in front, usually you step out to the bat safe spot and then the back thing attacks and the front thing attacks. Is that what happens? We'll find out. No. Okay. Alright, well this is interesting. I guess we're gonna drag the bat down, so... Here, I think if we go here, actually... Okay, so here's the solution. It's kind of like a little play on like the thing we did earlier on, if any of you remember. Now this nibbler's just gonna eat the pillar, that's fine, but that thing we did earlier on with mage prey, step out, and then range prey, if you do that from the back there, the ranger in the back can't see. So we just drag the bat out that way, and then now we have a blob front stack, which now this is what I was talking about. So if you're standing in the middle, like you always do for a stack, you can step out to the bat safe spot. Now if you step just straight out, it doesn't work. So you want to step out to the bat safe spot because there's a blob in front. So blob in front or bat in front, step out to the bat safe spot. And here in this case, because there's a blob, we probably do want to be one tick alternating. So good to know when the mage respawns something, you can simply keep one tick alternating and it's really just going to stay in the same cycle. So I knew here as long as I kept the cycle going, I was going to be good. Again, making sure to click in the middle of the prayer orb, just saying. Dude, that nibbler's chomping, bro. Think this is gonna mage me? Okay, nice. Okay, we're gonna kill this quick. That pillar will live to see another day. That's good. Okay, we're just gonna do a little one tick alternating, little healing. We're just healing off the stuff, just healing off the stuff. Don't forget you can do this. You can always heal off of stuff with your healing stick. Good to do. Good to heal off of stuff when you need health. Just be careful like healing off of stuff before the mage is dead. Usually that's not like typically a good thing to do. We still have our blowpipe specs, so don't forget that too. Those are in our back pocket. Don't want to like forget about that for the harder waves. Make sure you have the right gear on, start tile, mage prey on, ice barrage at the ready. one barrage. We're gonna go here, pray range. Now the reason I knew that is because I knew it was safe to pray range here because... Well, it's a little bit... hard to explain in the moment, but anyway, we're just gonna start one-tick alternating against this freaking major. We can get this thing dead. Basically, I knew because the mage was on that side, there's not two mages, you know, so that means that if I go to the other side and pray range, I'm guaranteed safe as long as I'm not taking the mage hit initially. There's basically the logic for that. As you can see, not a lot of times we're really wanting to put rigor on. We're really favoring just camping our overheads to make things a lot easier. Instead of flicking our overheads and flicking rigor a lot, that would just be like a lot of extra work. It's just gonna make your life a lot harder on your first cape. One-tick alternating against the ranger now. Just trying to like simplify stuff. Can obviously go for that nibbler. It should be noted it's only one nibbler on the pillar, I believe, which you have to take into account how many are hitting the pillar, not just if there's nibblers on the pillar. So here we're gonna hit our prayer regen once again. Well, those blob hits were very loud for some reason. Yeah, nothing we can do about that. Most important thing is we have our north pillar alive, so any threats to our north pillar, we're gonna try to deal with those the best we can. Let's find a restore here. Probably good to just keep high prayer. This is a situation where there's a mage and then there's a melee that's eventually going to dig. What we actually can do is we can just kill the melee, actually. I didn't even think about it like this, but... we just very quickly kill the meleeer. Now the north pillar is under siege, so we are kind of like... there is like a little bit of a fire under our butt, so to speak, you know. Kind of do have to get to the saving of this pillar pronto. But don't overuse rigor, be very careful. I don't like this pillar taking damage though, come on, die already. My ranger boots aren't doing work, come on. Wow, that was terrible. Okay. Wow, then it takes us one hit to kill the nib. Go figure. Okay, anyway. Well, that was what it was. Okay, anyway, I mean, we only have like 10 more waves or so to get through with our pillar, so... don't worry too much. Probably gonna be okay. Just gonna heal for this ranger as much as we can. Take another sip of water, getting late into the waves, make sure you're good on everything. Got good supplies, so we're chilling. Gonna be full health. Gonna make sure our gear, prayer, etc. is all right, and we're on the start tile. I'm gonna kind of aggressively save this pillar right now because I don't like how low it's getting. And it is the north pillar, so that does kind of make it just by default the most important. Gonna save our specs here as well. We're not like super scared of these waves or anything, but we do want to just keep some specs in the reserve usually. It's good to have them in case of emergency. Like, you will be grateful you had them when you need them, basically. So this is again normal stack. So normal stack, you always want to go out on the west side, so from this camera view, the right hand side. It's always the back monster first, followed by the front monster the very next tick. This is just a very basic pillar stack. Once again, if there were to be a bat or a blob in front of the major here, it would be the same order. We would just have to step out to the bat tile instead of just straight out. So bat tile instead of straight out for bat slash blob in the front. Almost took a hit doing that. Well, I did take an off for hit doing that actually, but no one saw it, don't worry. So obviously, or it might not be obvious, but you figure you can safe spot the melee from the 1 to 49 star tile. I've shown you the bat safe spot tile. So obviously, naturally you can safe spot the melee from this tile as well. You can just simply go diagonally to the 50 plus start. So once again, just showing this very simple around the corner melee trap. It's very useful, especially come these later waves. Make sure you're brushed up on where you can trap the melees. Supplies are looking good. Before the days of prayer regens, I would say if you're like around wave 60 with 6 restores, you'd be pretty good. So considering that, I'd say we're plenty good. So here, going into wave 59, I'm just gonna use a bastion potion. I almost said a boat. Bastion potion. So here, we're just gonna spec this. We're gonna run here. We're gonna kill these. I don't like these things hitting the pillar. These things are kind of getting annoying. Gonna kill this one too. So the reason we Bastion Potioned is because Bastion Potion basically is for these late waves. So if there was like a weird situation, or even like that, we just killed the bat very quick. Didn't have to worry too much. We're plenty of DPS. Once again, bat in front. Back monster is always going to attack first. It just depends. If there's a bat in front, we're going to step out to the bat tile. So instead of running straight out, we're going to run to the bat tile, mage in the back, so mage range. Luckily our Bowfa just barely reaches here, so it's kind of nice. Because obviously we do want to kill the mage first. I don't know why I wanted to take the bat hit there, but I guess I did. So the good thing about Bastion Potion is, first of all, it also boosts your defense, as you can see on the screen here, so your defense does get boosted. But other than that, it's also good because I don't even know. I'm just freaking sick. Bastion's freaking sick, dude. I don't even know. I forgot what I was gonna say, but make sure your Bastion for these waves is very important. Here we can do the thing we were talking about. So here we're just gonna one tick alternate based off the mage here. And if the melee were to dig, we can just move one to the south and just pray melee, because that's going to be more important than praying against the blob, and we're going to re-corner trap the mage in that situation. So we have some options here. Hopefully we kill this mage. That's kind of nice. Now we don't have to worry, but I'll just show you, just for example, if the thing did dig, we would just go here. You can pray like one more time against the blob, pray melee. Blowpipe is technically best, and then rigor just to make sure, because rigor you want to not put on very often, but usually it's good if you're taking damage from something. So here we're taking damage from the blob, so it's like fair enough to like put rigor on for a little bit there. So we're gonna re-prayer regen as the plugin is commanding. You know how it is. Definitely want a Phantom Barrage here, that's for sure. This thing's on 1 HP, but we can actually still get potentially 2 barrages. So like the first one will be the one that hits, and the second one will be the Phantom. So that being said, I don't think it's hitting, so I guess we have to pray augury. Alright, make sure we have our tank gear on. Make sure we have this barrage. Is our pillar low? It's not that low, actually. Here, we can just kill the bat. So just remember, if the melee digs here, you can always just go to the west side of the pillar, and that way we would just be tanking a blob, because the ranger's stuck on the east side of the pillar. So is the mage, actually. I'll just show what I mean here. So, for example, here we're just getting hit by a blob, so we can just pray against the blob. Rest of the wave, pretty self-explanatory. We definitely want to kill the blob in the Phantom Barrage spot just so that only the ranged blob can see us. We're not going to take any extra damage. Our pillars really took a beating. I don't really even know at what part that was, to be honest, but regardless, we only have a couple waves left, so we should be fine. We just have to make sure we do deal with anything on the pillars, so we'll have to keep that in mind, even though it should be okay. Okay, on this, so on 62-63, if you want, you can just keep rigger camped. That's kind of like a fine strategy. The reason why is because, see, for example, it'll just let you kill that bat. And it'll actually let you just kill this mage before the melee digs, most likely. We also have the option to run up all the way north to the nibbler killing tile, if you've been watching me do that. I didn't really explain that too well, but it's basically this tile all the way north. You can kill the nibblers from this tile. So, make sure you know that. Here we may actually just want to kill the melee. I think we will just commit to killing the melee. I don't know how to flick these. Let's just pretend we don't know how to flick these, because probably realistic, right? Yeah, like, I don't know how to flick those, dude. So as you can see, our range boost is dropping a little bit, so we might actually just repot for the next wave. I would say you could probably use like 2 to 3 doses on the waves at most. Like 2 is pretty safe, 3 is like, then you only have 5 doses for Jads and Zuk, so like 5 doses is okay, but you know, like 6 is better, so basically that. We're just gonna heal a little bit. We actually can just brew, yeah, so like I was saying, you can just brew here, because I'm gonna want the defense boost anyway. Just make sure you don't camp rigger too long. It's gonna drain your prayer pretty quick, faster than you'd probably expect, so we will re-bastion for the next wave. Just make sure we don't make any major error here. We want to heal up as best we can. Correct gear on. Make sure we can have rigger on. Camp rigger on the beginning of like the very hard waves. So like this is probably maybe one of the hardest waves. So. Okay. Very simply, we're just gonna start killing the mage here. It's a little bit of a scary situation, believe it or not. Probably gonna want to use our blowpipe spec. We have to keep that in mind. We can camp rigger in a second if we have to. We can always remember that. Here, there's actually a trick I'm gonna show. So like here, if you run here, I do like showing this trick. It is a little bit advanced, but because the blob saw us at the same time, we can simply flick them as if they were just one blob. So we're just lazy flicking as if it's one blob, and then we're just gonna kill the melee here, and then we're gonna kill the mage. Obviously on these waves we do have to pay a little bit of attention to our pillar health, as we have let it kind of fall a little bit low, and it is the only pillar left, so every wave from now on the nibblers are going to go towards that pillar, so we just have to be extra mindful of it. It has a little bit of health left, so we have a little bit of room to play around with, but can't go do anything too crazy, that's for sure. Here, I think if we kill the back one first, we can do some fun stuff, so we're going to try that. See, because I like to do fun stuff, so see. Oops. Alright, I don't know what happened, but either way, wave 63 completed. So, you know, we take it. We take it. Now, wave 64 on, I probably wouldn't keep Rigor on. It's not really worth it. Here, do we have to save the pillar? No, we have time to just kill this and be chill. You have to kind of judge it for yourself here. Now here, what we're going to do, the mage is going to see us there, so you got to be very careful. Make sure you pray mage on that. We're simply killing all the things here. What we'll do is we'll just kill this melee. Once it digs, we'll go to the 50+ start tile. Kill either of these. I mean, I guess kill the mage is technically like the fundamentally sound play, so we'll just do that. Now, if this melee dug, well, I mean, that one's going to dig first, I guess, but we're just going to hope we kill the mage here. I think we will. Okay, that works out. Pray melee now, just stand still. Make sure we don't misclick that, because that could be not a good thing. We just want to make sure we play safe for the most part. This one should pull out eventually, if it ever figures out how to. To be TBD, I guess. Alright, if it looks safe, you can like click out to attack. Just be careful. 65 is slightly scary wave just because there's 2 rangers I can see you off spawn. Best is just to put your tank gear on, crystal shields, and just hope they don't kill you, basically. So yeah. Yeah, if you want to take it like super slow and super chill, you could bring an extra prayer regen. Like, it really wouldn't be the worst decision ever. Here we're just gonna stay put. Actually, I think we can just start hitting this. Took an accidental range hit there, but we do tank it, so that's nice. That's pretty much the waves done. Always nice to be kind of done with the waves. Obviously, we still could make a silly mistake, so we don't want to do anything too crazy here. Now it's up to you how to decide how to use these last doses of Bastion. I'm gonna be a little bit liberal. I'm just gonna use one right now, actually. This is like a little bit more liberal than I usually would be with them, but I almost always have one left over. Now, if you want to be safe, obviously just don't use the Bastion dose there where I just did. So there I just used my 3rd dose of Bastion out of 8 that we brought in. So we still have quite a lot, and hopefully this one will last us through Jads into Zuk. Well, I mean, into Zuk we would repot, I guess, but this is double mage. Make sure you're completely sure of that. If you run into the middle like this, don't run into the middle like this unless you're sure. We're gonna get this cool trick where Nibbler's gonna kill the pillar. If this monster's southwest tile is next to the pillar, when it falls, it's gonna take half of its current health and damage. So as you can see, these things have 220 health, so it's gonna be 110 damage. So you can basically start hitting this now because we don't want to kill that one. As you can see, nice big hit on that. So it's like a little speedrun tech. We're just, you know, speedrunning this a little bit, no big deal. Alright, so to the single Jad tile we go. We can now camp Rigger for the rest of the run. Should be able to. Make sure you don't lose focus on here. Obviously, you've come this far, so make sure you're not making a silly mistake. You should have plenty of time to pray, especially against a single Jad, but even against the triple Jads, you have more time than you might think, so try not to panic. Can use the Dragon Hunter one to barrage the healers here if we want. It is kind of a good strat. Sort of. I mean, it has range, so that's good. Alright, but usually just Bowfa though, keep it simple. So this one, there we just move back simply to trap one healer on the other, which is very nice to avoid some damage. I guess technically we're still potted, really no need to repot for triples here. I guess we'll repot if we make a mistake or something. Here we can just go for the blob barrage, it's kind of extra, just click the triple start tile. So if the first one mages, we don't click anything. If it ranges, we click range, so. Just keep focusing on the next attack coming in. Once you see the next attack, you can already pray against it because you already know the previous attack has already gone through, guaranteed. So just keep looking at the next Jad. Do not stop. It's very easy to lose focus here. This is why Rigger's really big here. F keys are really good here. Very important if you have used F keys to definitely use them here. If you're not used to them, then fair enough. Notice we accidentally didn't get that healer, so we had to tag that one. Try to take your time tagging the healers. I know there's usually like a feeling of urgency, especially if it's your first cape, but try to chill and just like take your time getting the healers, make sure all the healers are tagged so he's not healing up anymore. Then you can just go back to focusing. See, now I can 100% focus on the prayer flicking because I know all the healers are tagged, so we're good to go. This thing's just gonna die if I just keep hitting it. Just keep praying. Obviously the healers are gonna do a little bit of damage to you, nothing you can really do about that. It should be noted, if there's two healers on me at the same time, I can simply move a couple tiles north or a couple tiles south to trap one on another like I did on the other boss, or on the previous Jad, you know? Sip a restore real quick there, don't pray the wrong thing. I like to use either of these tiles. You can either use the one north, like on the first single Jad, or you can use these south ones that are aligned with his west side. It's kind of up to you. But I like to use these south ones because they're kind of close to the triple start tile, so I don't have to move too far. Obviously, should go without saying, but I will mention it. Try not to lose focus on this part. Might seem like you're kind of past the hard part, and while that's kind of true, these two are still just as far apart as the triples were. So like, these are still kind of close together, so you could still easily make a mistake. So have your F keys at the ready. You see how I change my prayers before I tag more healers? I want to make sure I'm doing the prayers first. It's always, of course, the most important. keep paying attention. If we made a mistake, we could actually tick eat, but hopefully we don't get to that point. And so we're going to use our last prayer regen now, make sure we're doing it in a good time when we're not needing to change our prayer, obviously. So here, this Jad's actually in the exact same location as the single Jad on the previous wave, so you can actually just go to the single Jad start tile, but I like to just use this one because it's closer. So here we're just gonna finish up this, and then we're gonna heal up to full. And we're gonna worry about dealing with the first set of Zuk, basically. It's pretty much the main thing we're gonna be worried about. And also just generally not missing ticks at Zuk, although that's something that you'll have to just practice. I will link to the Zuk Sim in the description in case you were interested. Zuk Simulator, definitely good to practice if you're feeling confident at the rest of it. You know, if you like watch this video, you feel comfortable with the waves. Zuk Simulator is definitely a good next thing to do. Here we don't quite have time to use as many potions as we want, so we're just gonna have to deal with it. Here you can right click to attack Zuk on the first tick. So how the shield basically works is how the first set works is when the shield goes around one full rotation. So when the shield makes it all the way back to this right corner, it's going to spawn the set. So the ranger's always on the right hand side and the major's always on the left hand side. So in this scenario, we're going to get the set spawn right when we're by the ranger, which is not really good nor bad. I mean, some people prefer this way a little bit more. I mean, it's just RNG which way it goes, but you should be able to survive regardless. So here we just get our blowpipe on. We want to be ready for the set. Don't want to be caught off guard here. Can blowpipe spec to make the ranger die a little bit faster, hopefully. A little fade away Bowfa action. Now you see we actually go straight back to hitting the boss. The reason why is because we want the set timer to pause. The set timer pauses at 600 HP, so we still have quite a ways to go. We're trying to hit it as much as we can. Looks like we're good on supplies. We still have 4 brews left. We dealt with the first set successfully, so don't forget you can always do those fadeaway T-bow shots. They're pretty epic, not gonna lie. So again, we're killing Zuk here because we want to get him under 600 where the set timer pauses and we have time to deal with the mage more. So the important thresholds for this fight are 600 HP, the set timer pauses, or I should say under 600 HP. Under 480, Jad spawns and the set timer unpauses. And then under 240, the Zuk healers spawn, so all very important thresholds to know. Definitely, you know, rewind that and take note. So 1 or 2 more hits will get it below the 600 threshold, which is our first threshold we were looking for, so that should do it. Here, if you want, you can actually take rigor off because we're not on any sort of timer now. The set timer is completely paused. You can take as much time as you need to on this part, technically speaking. That being said, I'm just going to kind of prove a point that we have enough prayer by just keeping the prayer on here at this point. You don't want to be like panicking, turning it on and off in the middle of Zuk on your first cape. It's probably not for the best, so So we're not getting any closer to another set right now at all because the set timer is completely paused, so just chilling. And now 480 is going to be Jad, so we're getting ready for Jad. Should be pretty soon, going to be another couple hits. And I like to move my camera around the other way for Jad, but it's up to you what you prefer. That's why I'm kind of getting ready to turn around my camera. As long as you can keep track of Zuk's hits, you can just do it like this, but it's hard to attack Zuk like this, so that's why I don't really do it yet, but... Guess don't need to have our overhead over on technically, but... Oh, that's... So we hit... Yes, that does do a... So if you hit... You see there, we hit Zuk an extra time. It actually allowed Jad to hit our shield, so that's something to keep note of. You might not want Jad to hit your shield, because that's not technically a good thing. Definitely like the wand for this part, kind of makes that tagging the healer's part kind of easy, so I'm a big fan of it. But that being said, just tagging with the Bowfa if you're more comfortable, it doesn't really matter. Make sure you don't misclick Jad here. If you ran out there, you'd most certainly be dead, so we want to make sure we're staying alive. Health bar is mostly green, so that's a good thing. Alright, so I am going to, as always, I mean, you can kind of see, I don't know if you can tell, like it's kind of hard to tell when you're learning the Inferno or you haven't done it much, but I can tell our DPS is pretty not good. Here, we're gonna brew up, we're gonna restore, we're gonna rebash in, and we're gonna deal with one more set before we do the healers, so we're not going to hit it too low. We want to be careful here. 240 is the threshold, so don't want to go under 240. Until healers spawn, all these 4 gray spots are the safe spots for Zuk, guaranteed. So you can always just run to the next one after you see his attack animation. So now I could already move to the next one. So that's always how it works. Up to this point, at least. Prayer regen has run out, but we still have 2 doses. Here we can stam just because it's good to do it early. You don't want to be caught needing to stam like randomly. We're just gonna chill here. As you can see, we have 4 brews left, so that's quite a lot. We have 3 bastions to deal with healers with, so our goal is basically deal with the set the best we can when the set spawns. So we're gonna be ready to tag the set. We might have to tank the set a little bit, but if we do, we just pray mage, we just tag both the monsters, and we just kill the ranger. Brew back to full, and get ready to do healers. It's basically the way we're going to do it. As you can see, it's 258 HP right now, so we're not even going to hit it. Not even worth remotely risking that, because obviously we can hit that, even unpotted. Or unprayered, you know? So all this time that we're waiting for the next set, we could technically be, you know, hitting Zuk and then doing the healers and then dealing with the second set after the healers. Very important here, we actually don't want to use our blowpipe specs, actually, believe it or not. Here we can put our crystal shield on for a little bit extra defense, so that's a good thing to know. And another good thing to know is we can move to this tile and you can Bowfa the ranger from this safe spot. That's potentially really good to know. Now, my preference is just to leave the mage alive. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get all the way to full. And now we're gonna proc the healers. So we're basically just trying to keep our DPS up. You see I tried to tag the healers as fast as possible. Waiting for another Zuk hit here. Remember, the safe spots aren't necessarily the safe spots anymore, so don't get fooled. Very easy way to die is just running to the safe spots like before and figuring out they weren't the safe spots. Or they were the safe spots but aren't anymore, rather. So we're just making sure we're re-bastioned, and then we're just going to hit the boss as often as we can. That's pretty much what we're going to do, and then we're going to just hope we finish it before the next set. If another set spawns with this mage on us, we can simply barrage the stack of mages. So I can even do like a one-way switch to my wand and just barrage the mages. You could also technically kill this mage if you want, but I don't think it's necessary. Usually leads to having to deal with another third set, which... no reason to really deal with another third set if you don't have to, in my opinion at least. Obviously you can if you have to, it's not like the end of the world or anything, probably still gonna have a good chance of getting your cape with the third set, but as you can see, getting close to finishing it on the 2 set. Again, if another set spawns, we simply barrage the mage pile to get the new mage on us. I believe it's also the top one on the right-click option. I could be wrong though, don't 100% quote me on that. Careful, I almost did the mistake there. Don't run too far ahead, I almost did it there. Life flashed before my eyes, not gonna lie. And you hope for some kind of hits, I mean... Pretty unfortunate hits at the moment. But we got it in the end. Let's go. Oh, it feels good to do that. It just feels really good to get another Bowfa first cape in the books, you know. 21. There we go. 146.27. A little longer than I expected, but nothing wrong with a little bit of a longer cape. If you think yours might be around that length or a little longer, you could consider the extra prayer regen. As you can see, what we ended with was 2 brews, 1.5 restores, still had a whole dose of Bastion left, even with my fairly liberal use of it. And then obviously we only need 1 dose of stamina for Zuk, so leaves us with quite a bit of supplies left. And yeah, I'm just really happy to make another old school Bowfa style guide for you guys. And don't forget, we're almost at 3k subs. I was thinking about doing like a 3k subs Q&A type thing. I'm not really sure if I'm going to do that yet, but I don't know, leave a comment, let me know. I'm also sorry that I haven't really been getting back to a lot of comments. I've been just kind of busy in real life lately, so I do want to start kind of getting back to replying to comments, but I do apologize for anyone that's left a comment and hope that I replied just for me to kind of go radio silent. So yeah, with that being said, hope you enjoyed this one. It was a very fun one for me to make. I love this budget setup. It's a really strong setup for the budget. It's about 200 mil, and as you can see, it can get you a cape, so hope you guys enjoyed. Nothing much left to say on my end. Get out of my face, Tzhaar, and peace. That was lame. And peace. There you go, that was better.